What's up, everybody? It's at DFS Jimmy here, bringing you the FanShare Early Week Course Preview. This week, we are making a change. We are going from the windy, flat courses of Texas, and the tour is making its annual stop at Jack's Place. That's right, it's Muirfield Village, Dublin, Ohio. Jack's, little playground that he built. Actually, interesting note: he carved this golf course out of the woods that he used to hunt at or hunt in as a kid. So very familiar with the land when he set out to make this track. What's going to be a lot different around this track compared to the last couple of weeks is elevation change. Last few tournaments, really ever since the Masters, we've had a lot of flat golf courses, some technical, some bomber, but all flat, pretty windswept. This week is going to be a drastic shift. The rolling hills of Ohio are in play. There is a lot of undulation at Jack's Place, a lot of elevation change players are going to contend with. Muirfield Village is a 7,392 yards, 7,377 is the average yardage for the par 72 at Muirfield. It is bent grass greens again this week. And I guess the most similar thing to last week is how the course will play in terms of the front nine versus the back nine. Much like Colonial, where it's imperative to get a fast start, Muirfield Village is very much the same. It is a tale of two nines, and depending on the nine that you start on, it'll be crucial to get a hot start, because the second nine, or your first nine, depending on where you start again, is going to be much, much more difficult. When you take a quick look, the front nine plays almost a quarter stroke under par, while the back nine plays 0.7 strokes over par. So very, very different story when it comes to the two nines. Even though they both have a couple of long par fours, couple of long par threes, and two gettable par fives, the back nine plays very, very difficult comparative to the front nine. So, how do you attack Muirfield Village, and what kind of golfers go well there? As legend has it, or as the narrative goes, Jack designs golf courses that Jack would have played well at. And you look at the courses that Jack has played well at, and you look at the players that tend to do well here, and they do tend to fit his game. You need to have some power off the tee. It favors a fade, and you got to hit it high. Those are the things that Jack did that much better than everybody else in his heyday. And of course, he was a great putter as well, but Jack was long off the tee. He hit a fade. He favored the fade. He designed golf courses that favor the high fade. And those tend to go well around here. Not to say that you can't play a draw and succeed here. That's not what I mean at all. Just the golf course, the sight lines, everything tends to favor a game like Jack played. And Jack played a big high cut. So you look at golfers that have scored well around here historically, and I think you'll see that their games tend to match up fairly well with his. When it comes to the golf course and kind of the type of game you do need length off the tee here. The fairways are generous. When I say generous, they are some of the wider fairways on tour, and really, Jack encourages that. He wants it to be a second shot golf course. He wants you to be able to feel comfortable on the tee and uncomfortable into the green. Is the way that the golf course sort of lays out to me on paper. Is you should be able to hit these fairways. Most guys should. You will pay dearly for missing them, though. Jack is a technical guy, and he did set this golf course up that if you don't find yourself in position in the fairway, and you do blast one, outside of these generous confines, you are going to face almost a certain bogey, and definitely a double. There are a number of creeks, trees, lots of like little areas that you just can't be in. If you're going to play towards the pin on some of these holes. And again, most guys should be hitting the fairway here, but for the ones that don't expect your guys to be recovering, as easily as maybe some other tracks on tour. Jack does penalize you for missing his wide fairways. Where you have to make your bacon here at Muirfield Village, though, is in the approach game, and you got to catch a hot putter. You need to be a decent scrambler, because it will come into play here, but it hasn't been a defining characteristic of winners historically. At this golf course, it is a second shot golf course. The greens are very undulated here, and they tend to collect balls to one side or the other. And if you find yourself on the wrong side of these greens, you definitely will be bringing three putts into play. And really, even if you find yourself on the wrong side of these holes, the other hallmark of Muirfield Village is its greens, and not really its greens so much as the speed of its greens. Jack likes to keep them Augusta-ish. In other words, he wants them rolling as fast as they can get them rolling any given week they're playing competitively here. And he's not bashful about telling you that in pre-round interviews and you look back in years past. Expect really fast greens here. So you find yourself on the wrong side of a hole and being above the hole, you can absolutely bring a three-putt into play even from a short distance away. So your placement into the greens is absolutely the most crucial part of the game this week in terms of finding yourself in contention or at the top of a leaderboard come the weekend. Certainly putting will help, but really it is the approach game that guys kind of have to nail here. So when you look at Muirfield and kind of where guys are going to score, where they're not going to score, you look at the par fives right down here. The par fives are none of them are terribly long. None of them broach the 575-yard mark. All of them are gettable in two for the long hitters on tour. And really, most guys are going to be going at these par fives because, as you can see, they're the easiest group of holes on the course, and there's not a whole lot of short par fours to score on here. And really, there's not very many mid-length par fours. Jack takes it to you with his 6 par fours that are over 450 yards this week. And it's a tale of you're going to make your birdies on the par fives, you're going to give them back on the long par fours. You're going to make your birdies on the par fives, you're going to give them back on the long par fours. That's sort of the tale of how Jack builds his golf courses, and it's definitely the case around Muirfield. And again, it is very much a course of 2 nines. One of the toughest closing nines, one of the toughest closing stretches of holes you're going to see on tour, and one of the easier opening stretches of holes you're going to see on tour in terms of 9 versus 9. Don't be committing Harry Carey when your lineups look really bad. First thing on Thursday morning if they all started on the back 9. Right, expect your guys to play over par on the back 9 and expect them to play under par on the front. You get some guys that don't play the front under par, and you got some things to start worrying about in your lineup. But for the most part, pay attention to where the guys start because it'll be drastic scoring differences between the 2 nines this week. Other than that, guys, Jack's place takes all of your game. There's not really a reprieve around here. It is deceptive in the sense that most of the holes play downhill, so the greens appear larger and more inviting than they might be. Once players get up to them, everything seems to lay out really nicely from the fairway into the green for you, and it's a bit deceptive for golfers, especially your first timers around here. You really do have to hit your spots on the green here. Otherwise, you'll see guys 3-putting from maybe not very far away, and certainly getting out of position off the fairway. You're not going to see guys recover. So, takes a complete game here. Look for class golfers this week. When you look at the players that have won here historically, it's not a bunch of scrubs that put up wins here. And one thing Jack has famously always said about this course is that if you can win at his course, you can win at Augusta. That said, I don't know if it's a really great correlation, but for a guy that has 6 green jackets and then designed his place to be sort of a blend of Muirfield and Augusta and all the places he loves, I'll take the guy's word for it that Augusta is a pretty good comp. So, you might want to look there for some comp courses. Really, anything that Jack Nicklaus has designed is a decent comp course, as all of his courses tend to favor bombers and strong approach game. So that's kind of who Jack was. So, if you want to bring in comp courses this week, I would look for other Nicklaus design courses. And from the man himself, Nicklaus says Augusta is a great comp course here as well. So this is DFS Jimmy signing off for Fanshare Sports this week. Again, if you're not a member over at Fanshare, if you haven't signed up, a lot of their stuff is free. Make sure you get over to fansharesports.com. Check out, sign up for their free package. Think about becoming a member. They've got Logan does a great article over there. They've got fantastic ownership projections, and the ownership projections are a little bit different than some of the other guys. They dial them in a little bit more on crowd sense. They listen to every podcast, they read every article, and they track all the sentiment throughout the week. So it's tough to beat in terms of gauging the pulse of the industry. week to week. Fan share is always on it. So make sure you're over there and checking those guys out. Again, DFS Jimmy signing off. Best of luck this week. See you guys next week.